Hello everybody, and welcome to the latest in our series of Let's Talk seminars. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Krissy Salmon from One Savings Bank, which incorporates Interbay, Precise Mortgages and Kent Reliance. Krissy is an industry expert with many years in the field of commercial investment finance and residential investment finance, and I'm delighted that she joins us today to share some bite-sized information with you all. So good morning, Krissy.
Morning, Dave. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I know that the people watching this podcast are very much looking forward to hearing your views today. So straight in, Krissy, as we're looking at the world of property investment finance, is often a very common phrase, but it's used for multiple purposes. So for the purposes of this seminar, this podcast, are you able to cover off the main reasons why people look to try and use this type of funding?
Absolutely, Dave. As you say, property investment funding could be used for multiple purposes and is quite a broad term. So from an Interbay perspective, we typically see investment funding used for various types of residential investment properties. That could be a typical buy-to-let. That might be a block of flats. It could be a house of multiple occupancy. But we also see it used through to describe things like semi-commercial properties and commercial properties as well. So that could be an office with a flat above, or it could be a warehouse or an industrial unit. Investment mortgages give landlords the opportunities to purchase these types of properties for rental returns or potential capital growth. So it encaptures a wide range of scenarios.
Yes, indeed it does. And it's great to have that very concise answer. As a supplemental question to that, over the last 12 months, lenders have often been challenged to look outside the box. They've been to look at other types of investment properties. And more recently, we've seen a lot more commercial to residential conversions under permitted developments and things like holiday lets and serviced accommodation. Is that also something that you and your team have seen at Interbay?
I think if we look at the last 12 months specifically, as you mentioned, every funder's had to really adapt to the different circumstances. In the first instance, as you can imagine, existing customers and colleagues with the pandemic situation were at the forefront of our mind, making sure that we could deploy really quick plans to get people working from home, making sure we had the right staff in place to deal with lots of inquiries around existing loans, and also the correct processes in place to support payment holiday queries. That was definitely topical over the last 12 months. Off the back of that, perhaps our natural core business slowed a little bit, but as a bank, we've kept a really keen eye on the market, along with government advice and economic forecasts, to make sure that we lend prudently in the right sectors. We've seen lots of initiatives launched during the period to support the economy, and each of those support measures had to be considered by the bank and lending policy adapted accordingly. So we've seen lots of changes. Obviously, we've communicated out to our broker network so they can communicate in turn to our end user, your clients, where we've had to be really flexible and look at what we're doing in this particular market. I'm really excited to say that we keep, a really close eye on where the market's going. So we'll see lots of new initiatives coming up in the future as well, which will see us look at new markets, new sectors at the right time to do so.
That's great. Thanks, Krissy. And you mentioned the role of a broker. Now, what do you see as the key benefits for both the client and the funders when dealing with a broker on investment deals, when perhaps considered with a direct approach from the client?
That's a great question, Dave. Key benefit for the client, in my opinion, is the expertise and knowledge that brokers bring to the table with regards to how best to, be it shape the deal, present the deal, package the deal on their behalf. I really don't think you can underestimate that. Brokers have built really valuable relationships with their key funders, which directly benefits the applicant. I feel the broker's experience in understanding which lenders like what type of business really ensures that those cases are placed with the right lender from day one, saving precious time and money for the clients. You guys provide a really valuable service in that you've vetted the key documents, so you have an understanding of what the lender's checking and covering off any concerns from your findings, often before us as a lender have even seen the deal. This benefits, the lender as well. We know that deals come to us in a way that matches what we're looking for. So they're already presented and they're a good fit for our appetite, and that we can then focus on the processing of the case quickly, as the broker will have packaged the deal well, highlighting the key points we need to be aware of. There are additional benefits, especially when working with a funder like Interbay, in so much that the broker will have a really good understanding of where there is flexibility within our lending criteria. So you may know from experience and having access to people like myself that on the face of it, it might not look like it's something for us, but actually it's a deal that we'd love to see and consider on behalf of your client.
Brilliant, thanks. Again, another really comprehensive answer. So when we're looking forward now, as we move out of this pandemic, fingers crossed, and as we follow the roadmap, can you tell us what expectations that you would have and Interbay would have for the property investment market during the rest of 2021?
I think it would be fair to say that there is an expectation that the property market will boom, Dave, although I feel this may be, specific sectors of the market. It might be specific regions of the UK. What I can give you assurance of is that we will absolutely remain vigilant and deploy the appropriate products in a quick and nimble way to make the most of those opportunities for the right time to support brokers and their investor clients.
Fantastic. Now, as you mentioned before, there are now many, many funders in your marketplace, and there's lots of options for clients to consider. So what do you think is the key reasons why people use Interbay and brokers use Interbay that sets you apart from some of the other funders that are out there?
I think first and foremost, our dedicated team of specialist finance account managers, myself included, who provide national coverage to our broker partners and really have the knowledge and expertise to add value and assist with even the most complex of deals. If you couple this with the expertise and experience within our head office teams and our pragmatic approach to underwriting, it makes us a great choice for brokers and for their clients. There's confidence that the deal will get done and that the products we offer represent great value for clients. We're consistently looking to innovate and move with the market and remain flexible, allowing us to stay fresh and relevant as the market adapts, along with the needs of our clients that change. So, we've got our fingers on the pulse, Dave.
It's good to know. I mean, slightly putting you on the spot, when you're looking at the last 12 months and we look at some of the ways in which funders have had to change, it's not been a want or a need to change, they've had to change. We've seen things like automated valuations within certain funders. We've seen streamlined underwriting. And in particular, one area that really seems to have worked well across all funders is dual representation on the legal side, where we've got a lawyer or a solicitor that's acting for both the client and the bank. Can you just talk us through basically how that works so a client can understand?
Absolutely, yes. And I'm really pleased to say something that we've always had available for our clients is something that we're quite passionate about and have there available. Key benefits for the client has to be you've got definitely cost savings, there are time savings to the client, and you've got really good credible solicitors there acting on the client's behalf and also on the lender's behalf. But to give you a very quick overview is ultimately you've got one set of solicited firms, albeit you will have different solicitors within that firm, so there's no conflict, one of which will act on the client's behalf, one of which will act on the lender's behalf, but it is all in-house. So it really is a nice cost-efficient and time-efficient way of doing that legal work involved with those investment transactions.
Yeah, brilliant, thanks. And I think many clients that have chosen to use it perhaps will reflect and say it actually got the deal done quicker, which is important to people. So finally, Krissy, we're going to move on. And when we're looking at the last 12 months again, it has been difficult. It has been challenging for businesses, for property investors, for banks, funders, lawyers, valuers. The list goes on and on in our industry. So if you were looking forward now and talking to property investors generally, what's your sort of advice, top tips for them as we start to come out of the pandemic and move forward to a more normal way of trading?
I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel here, Dave. I think my top tips and what I would be saying to anybody looking at property investment, whether they're starting out on the journey or seasoned property investors with lots of experience under their belt, I'd be saying it's about education, knowledge and preparation. I think they are absolutely key. Understand your target market, especially as we know the markets change. Have a clear strategy, maybe a business plan, and surround yourself with the right people. I genuinely think that those fundamentals will stand you in good stead. So if you've got good brokers, good solicitors, tax advisors, and of course a lender to support you on your investment journey, that would be my top tip to you. Having just been through the last 12 months, if I was to give you some personal advice, I'd actually say don't lose sight of some of the positives that we've learned through this kind of crazy period. For me personally, appreciate your family, appreciate some of the simple things in life. It's let's not just go 100 miles an hour. I think there's a lot of positives to take from the last 12 months as well.
No, there's some good advice there, Krissy, and good sound advice, which, as you say, stands the test of time, but is also very, very important for the future. So I know that a lot of people that are going to be watching this and watching it on feedback and catching up with us in the days, weeks and months to come will find what you've said today to be really useful and insightful. As you know, we're based in the southwest of England. Hopefully soon we will return to some face-to-face meetings. We will return to some property groups where we meet up, and it will be really, really useful, Krissy, that as and when that time comes, if you could be available to attend some of those, because it would be fantastic to see you. It'd be fantastic to, have our clients probe your knowledge, and hopefully, do some deals with Interbay. So thanks for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to the feedback we get from our clients from these podcasts. Thanks ever so much.
Oh, thanks for having me, Dave. Much appreciated. See you soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so.